Hey guys, what's up? Shadowlands back from the video. Today I'm going to be talking about some stuff based on a video that we had uploaded recently. It was an interview between UCD and NX Coyote. So we saw a member of Nexon speaking to one of the YouTubers that we all know and love, one of our good friends, and so we had some good insights into what we're going to be seeing in the upcoming days of Combat Arms, upcoming months, and possibly even years. So today I wanted to go over and talk about what did we see, what are we going to expect, and what's going on. That's what we all want to know. So today I'm going to go over some things that Nexon really has to do right if they want to push this forward and do a good job of re-advertising Combat Arms and making sure it's attractive again to new players and even recruiting back old players to come check out the game. So first of all, we want to make sure that they're not changing too many of the core physics of the game to accommodate the graphics that they're planning on putting in. If you put in a bunch of new graphics, there's going to be a lot of things here and there that are going to look really weird, like if you have to step over tiny rocks that weren't there before, or is the jumping animation going to play out the same way? Obviously, a lot of the things to do with gun mechanics, like spread recovery and stuff, may not have to change, but if we're looking at new graphical overhauls, it's going to be really weird, especially with things like aim assist, that if we're looking at someone's head, is it actually where it's supposed to be? We've had that issue in the past. We've had a lot of issues with, do graphics line up with what we're actually seeing, both server side and just with the physics engine that's built into the game. We've seen those kind of issues, especially with sniper rifles in the past. We've seen it with basically everything, especially explosion mechanics. Is that still going to work the same way? With the polygonal shapes that we have in Combat Arms right now, you have to hit a specific surface to make the explosion go in a certain direction and hit people. It's little physics like that. Are we going to have to see changes in that, or are we going to have to get reused to this all? What's happening there? Is it literally just a graphics overhaul, and how is that going to visually impair how well we use the physics of the game and how well we're used to using what we've got? And is it going to be very similar to what we've got? What are they carrying over, and what's going to be new in the physics engine realm of this whole game? Because that's going to be important to a lot of us, especially those of us that play competitive, because we need to be on the know for that. We got to be on the ins, the outs, and everything. We got to know that stuff. And so the sooner we know that, the better. The next thing that still has to do with the graphical update is how much of a hike up in CPU power are we going to need to utilize these new graphics. I know they have already said that it won't be that drastic, but not drastic for a 2007 game. Keep in mind, these graphics have been around for almost 10 years now, and not much of a hike up can mean a number of things. Computer power has more than quadrupled since then. Back then, you would need a state-of-the-art machine to play Combat Arms, and nowadays, I mean, almost anything can run it, but when we see this graphical update, are we saying that just anyone with an ordinary gaming CPU can play this, or an ordinary gaming computer can play this, or are we still going to need to have a slightly better build than usual like we did back in the day? So how much of a hike up are we going to see? Because it's like the graphics that we've been seeing, or that they've shown us screenshots of, we might need better computers. I mean, I don't know if that's going to work. Now, we know that you are going to be able to roll back to the old graphics and use that, so if that does present a problem, that's going to be remedied that way, but it's going to be kind of weird if not everyone can use the new graphics, and I'm very, very uneasy about that. Let me put it that way. The next thing is actually more on the marketing side of the game. How are they going to advertise? Are we going to hit the right audience in the right place? Because that's going to be really, really important. Also, what is our target audience? We need to recognize that this game is old. We can't advertise it as a new game because it's not. It's an updated game. It needs to be advertised as such. So who is our target audience here? Are we trying to get back old players? Are we trying to get new players? Are we trying to do both? Where are we going to advertise and using what? What's going to be the target audience? And has the target audience of the game changed since we started with Combat Arms? Who do we want to attract to Combat Arms? Back in the day, you'd see plenty of 12 to 14-year-olds playing Combat Arms. Nowadays, it's a bunch of 20-year-olds or older. I mean, I don't think too many people under the age of 17 really even know what Combat Arms is, let alone actually play it. And that's just because most of us are legacy players that have been here for a while. So who are we trying to attract? Are we going to go back and try to get kids to play the game again? Or are we going to try to keep our current crowd? Are we going to try to re-advertise to adults and to people that are our age? Or are we going to go try and advertise to kids again? I remember when these the advertisements for these games were on TV. I remember when that would actually still watch TV back in the day, but all that being said, who are we trying to attract, and is who we're trying to attract going to please the community? Do we want to have more kids in the game with us, or do we want to keep it exclusively for people in college, late high school, and even beyond college? So we need to really reevaluate that. Also, this is now kind of something that I've touched on it before, but we need to make sure we do competitive gaming the right way with Combat Arms. If we're not very careful with the way that we build competitive, the way that we build our community by talking and interacting with each other, and the way that Nexon goes and designs new competitive games, which we're all hoping that they're going to do, are they going to do it the right way? We need to be very careful about the way that we go forward with this, so I don't really know what to say on this topic just yet to go further with this, but it's something I did want to bring up. The next thing is actually kind of to go along with the graphical update, but it's something completely different. Are we going to get audio updates? we haven't had any new audio updates since the game launched, basically. We've had, obviously, new audio that comes with new guns and stuff, but we don't have any new music. We have no new audio, no new gunfire sounds. We don't really have anything. I think we've had just a handful of small updates here and there throughout the game, but we're talking about all these graphical overhauls, but it'd be kind of cool if we got some new audio overhauls as well. I just think that's something interesting that I would bring up. I don't know how many people would even agree with me on that, but I think it'd be kind of interesting to see. The next thing I want to say is, while they're doing all of this, while we're getting all these crazy new updates and stuff that we're all really excited about, we need to make sure that we don't see a decline in content, and I'm saying new content, while making renovations. It's all great and all that they're renovating all the graphics and they're renovating the UI and all this stuff, but we don't want to see a lack of new content. We want to keep seeing small events here and there. Now, we can recognize as a community that they're going to be doing all these updates, and they're very busy. They're pumping out all the work they can possibly get out of their employees and such, but it's going to be really kind of boring if we can't get new events and stuff along the way. So hopefully their HR department and their people that are coming up with these game concept events, all these game event concepts, whatever, all this stuff, and maybe even new guns and maps and modes. I mentioned before we don't need more modes, but you guys get the point. If we're working on getting all this stuff renovated, are we going to continue to see the same stream of new stuff? And that's kind of important to me too, because I like to have stuff to make videos over. You guys like to have stuff to see videos made from, and you guys like the meta of the game to evolve constantly as it has since the dawn of the game. Now, honestly, the thing I am most nervous about is more graphical UI stuff that they've put in with this video with UCD and Coyote. Some of the new graphical UI stuff makes me very antsy. It seems too big and clunky, and it seems like I'm going to spend forever trying to find a particular weapon. And the way I say that is because it relies on filters. From what we saw in that video, the UI is going to rely a lot on filters. And while that's great, and it's a really great preset to have, if you're trying to constantly re-equip new weapons and go in and out of your inventory really quickly, it's going to be really awkward having to scroll through a bunch of pictures of guns, because if you have a ton of guns, and this is one thing they mentioned, if you have a ton of items and weapons in your inventory, you're going to spend more time scrolling through there and setting filters, and also filters aren't always the most specific. Let's say you are looking for a very specific NX Rare auto rifle, or assault rifle or whatever. It's going to take you forever to get through those, because if you're an experienced player and you have a lot of time in this game, you probably have a good number of assault rifles. It's the most commonly used weapon in the game, weapon type in the game anyway. So you go click assault rifle, even if you go NX Rare, assault rifle, primary, and you put in all this information, and it only comes up with those, that's still a lot of weapons, and you're going to spend a lot of time scrolling through stuff and refilling out filter categories and stuff. It's going to take time, and so that makes me very nervous that it's not going to be as clean. I do see that it looks nicer and it looks updated, so it's visually pleasing, but as far as functionality is concerned, I'm kind of antsy about that, so I really hope they don't mess that up. And then the last couple of things I wanted to go over, one of them I'm going to mention just briefly here at the end. Are we going to see updates to the servers at all? Because they desperately need updating on several fronts, whether it's the connection side, they need to conglomerate some servers, and they need to spread out some servers a bit more. They need to make some new servers for competitive, obviously. But we need some server overhauls in a number of areas, and it's kind of weird right now, and honestly, I am looking forward to having any kind of server update, because right now, quite frankly, I'm not very pleased with the way the servers are working. They feel very clunky, they feel very, disjointed, I think is the right word I'm looking for, or if you try to play on some servers, it's very unstable as to whether the servers actually got good connection or not at different times of the day based on what players are online, and so that should be moderated a bit more. I don't know if they want to automate that and say at this time of day, log all players onto this server and then log them onto this server and swap servers over, while you're in a UI, because that'd be not too difficult to do. Just while you go into a server, it can relocate you and stuff like that. A lot of games on console already do that. It doesn't take an incredible amount of time, and on a game like this, it'd probably be even faster than games like Battlefield 1 and these other new games that are out right now, so I can't imagine it would be too painful of a task for them to do, and it might see some better server stability based on what time of day we're playing around, and where the servers are, and who's awake in the world, and who's actually playing Combat Arms at the time. That would be pretty cool, by my opinion. Obviously, that's a huge stretch, and it's probably not something that would be implemented exactly like that, but it's the concept that we need these servers to be updated. And honestly, the last thing I want to bring up today is, how does Nexon plan on doing a better job of communicating with its community, with us? Are they going to get on YouTube and talk to us? Are they going to come to the forums and spend more time? Are they going to require that GMs spend an hour a week talking to the community? Are they going to tell people you actually have to go play the game in your free time a little bit, or you have to spend 30 minutes a day playing the game or something? Are they going to do something to make sure that we are having constant communication with those GMs and these developers? We want to talk to them. We want to know what's going on. And if developers are in the game talking to us, playing with us, and on the forums and reading what we got, and we see this constant feedback, it makes us feel more like we actually have some communication with the company, that we have some say, which we really should. It's one thing for people that are making videos on YouTube and spearheading the community to go and talk to these GMs, and it's great to have representatives, but we need to have voting power here. We need to have some sort of say in this, and I think that's really important for all the smaller people out there that are just watching the videos and being the consumers of the game. And don't get me wrong, you guys are super important. I'm not downplaying that. It's incredibly important to have the consumers to play the game. You guys are the reason the game survives, and you guys are the reason our YouTube channels survive, and you're the reason that we have something to do on the weekends. We want to make videos and have fun. So obviously everyone here is important. Everyone's a piece of the puzzle, but the big part here is that we need to have better communication with Nexon, and I want to see how they're going to move forward with that. I don't plan on making another video on that topic in a while, but we'll see how that goes in the next couple of months, and we're just going to hold our breath on that. But thank you guys for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Shadowlance out.